Welcome back to RBD Block Challenge. I'm Cindy Cloward, and today we are working on block number 12. It's called Crossroads and is designed by Amber Johnson. This is what it looks like in our confetti cottons, and this is what it looks like in our batiks. So download the pattern from the Riley Blake Designs website. Again, block number 12 called Crossroads, and let's get started on this block. I've never quite made a block that looks like this, so it was really fun to put this block together. It starts with a 4 patch in the center. So let's grab our A and B squares. I'm going to grab my glasses, and we're going to make a simple 4 patch. Easy peasy, right? Just right sides together. And I always do a sew at 2.25, and usually a scant 1/4 inch works best for me. All right, I am going to cut my threads in between because we have to flip them opposite. And I'm going to press to the dark side on both that. Okay, those are pressed to the dark side. We're going to nest those seams. So those are opposite. I'll put a pin in it. And then I'm going to, with the dark one on the bottom top, put that on there. You're going to sew on the right hand side. Make sure you get that right. Okay, we can take it back here, open that up, and this is where we're prepping for nesting our seams later. That seam we just sewed down, we're going to flip our seams opposite, and then we just kind of create this little 4 patch in the middle. There's a couple little threads. I'm just going to kind of loosen them up so they kind of open up those threads, and you relieve the bulk. And then later, this is going to be important because you're going to nest your seams because you've made this adjustment. Okay, so we've got our little 4 patch here. We've got 2 pressed to the dark side, and then the other seam we're pressed to the light side. Again, you can check it for accuracy. It should be 3.5 inches, and it looks great. So the center of our block is finished. Now we just need to sew the strips. So we're going to sew these 4 strips. And if you had the original cutting guide, it was 6 1/4, and we changed the length to 6.5. It's still fine for 6 1/4, but I wanted a little more wiggle room. So we changed the strips to 6.5. So you're going to pair up this coral color with this blue. And we're going to just strip piece these together and chain piece them together. So I'm going to do them all at once. All right, let's just clip the threads in between, and then we're going to go to our pressing station. And we are going to press we're going to press to the green, and this is going to be important when you nest your seams. So let's press this one to the green, both of these little strip piece units. And then we're going to press to the blue on this. Easy peasy, right? Those are ready to go. So we'll put those down right there. The next thing we're gonna work on are these units right here. It tells you to start with this one first, and you're gonna grab your E and your I squares, and you're gonna cut them corner to corner. Okay, and then it shows you arranging them like this. And so I just make sure I get them right. And then I do throw a pin on the top, so I'm very clear the side I'm going to sew down. I'm going to sew down this side. And let's see. Because you want, color placement is important, so you want to sew down the right side. Okay, like that. Again, color placement is important. That should be right. Throw a pin in it. I always like to sew on the right angles. I don't like to sew in the corner like there, so I always line them up so I can sew on the right angles. Okay, let's go sew these units. All right, let's clip our threads, and we're going to take them to the pressing station. And these are also important to press in the direction I tell you to press if you want to nest your seams. We're going to press to the dark pink on this unit. And dark pink this side. Okay, and this side we're going to press to the blue. Okay, those are ready to go. You could cut off your dog ears now. It's not a bad idea, so I think I will cut off my dog ears. Okay, let's put our block together. Now make sure you're referring to the pattern. You have this little 4 patch in the center. I'm going to put the green on top, and they're opposite. So here we go. And then we've got blue on this side, then it's opposite on this side, and then now we've got our little triangle units, and then they're opposite and opposite. Now we're ready to sew in sections. So we're going to sew these 3 different sections, and because of the way you nested your seams, that's going to come together really slick. So we're flipping that over here, and we're going to nest the seam there. On this top and bottom, they do not nest. Now, if you're sewing along the top, I do throw a pin in it. Again, this is a nice right angle. I like how that works. Make sure, even though you're going to start at the top here, I want to make sure you've got a nice right angle at the bottom. And so sometimes if I'm starting at the top, I just kind of pin it there. I'm going to sew down this side here. Even though we're sewing each of these sections right here, I'm just going to chain piece it together. Be careful with this side that you don't stretch your fabric, because this is on the bias there. So just feed that through, let your feed dogs take that fabric and go. Okay, this is lined up. All right, I am gonna clip between my little units here and lay them out. I'm not gonna leave my threads. Okay, I'm gonna flip it over this way. I'm gonna put those, line those up. Again, line up that right angle. Don't stretch your biased edge. And then I'm going to nest that seam and put a pin in it. Right, let's go sew. Okay, let me clip these threads. Bring it back over. Let's open it up. And now we have 2 more seams. And this is where we're gonna nest everything again. Those should be going the right direction there. So let's just pin that there. We have like 3 intersections. So I pinned the first intersection. And then there's some bulk here, so I am going to flip this out. And then this is on this side, and then flip that opposite, right there. Yeah, that's gonna be flipped like that. And just being super careful not to stretch my bias side of that unit right there. Okay, let's take a look. I'm not pressing at this stage. I like how that is looking. Let's take a look here. You can press between each of these steps, which is perfectly fine. But I'm going to press at the end. Oh, and they're just coming together so well. Everything's been nesting beautifully. Again, you can pin your 2 ends, but just don't stretch them out. I just kind of like to have them lay there and then just gently put it under my presser foot. Let's just sew down the last side. Okay, beautiful. Take a look. This is what we want to see. All of our points lining up. And I can see it would be a good idea if you pressed it between each of these strips, but we'll make it work. Now, I'm going to just press it this way. Press it from the back side, and then we'll press it on this side. It is working out, and now I'm going to press it on the top. So this is what it looks like to this step. Now we're going to square it up with our square up ruler, and we're going to trim these long sides and anything else outside of this 10.5-inch trim it ruler. So we line all of our sides up. So your seam, you want to make sure your seam here is all lined up, and you are going to trim anything outside. So the center seam, everything should be lined up. Okay, are you ready? Let's trim. And I'm going to trim around all 4 sides. Okay, it's a little hard to trim. Let's see, I'm going to trim right there. Okay, let's trim the last 2 sides. So I'm adjusting. I guess I could have used my rotating mat, but I just moved 2 sides. Again, I line everything up. You want that center mark there, your center mark right there. And just measure twice, cut once, right? Okay, there you go. We've got a lot of little scraps on the edge, but this block is finished. I've never quite made a block like this. It's quite unique. So this block was designed by Amber Johnson. I can't wait to see what her fabrics look like in this block. But join me next time for block number 13, Round of Applause by Amanda Niederhauser.